Ancient stories passed down in myths, rock carvings, and sacred texts, full of creatures that supposedly never existed. Imagination? Perhaps. But what if we're wrong? Time and again, researchers discover fossils that fit surprisingly well with old tales. Could real beings be hidden behind legends? Extinct, yes, but not forgotten. Perhaps there is more truth in myths than we think. Number 7. The unicorn. Thousands of years ago, people left behind mysterious depictions of one-horned creatures, for example on ancient seals from the Indus Valley civilization. For many, the unicorn is a creature of fantasy, a symbol of purity, magic, and untouchability. But perhaps the origin of this legend is more real than one might think. In the Ice Age steppes of Eurasia lived an impressive animal, the Erymanthian, a prehistoric rhinoceros with a single long horn on its forehead. It was related to modern rhinoceroses, perhaps also to horses, and grew up to 5 meters long. The structure of its skull and horn could have sparked the imagination of early humans. Whether through direct encounters or the discovery of bones, the Erymanthian could be the real core behind the unicorn myth. Its impressive appearance, combined with its extinction due to climate change and human influence, made it the ideal candidate for a creature that remained in memory and became a legend. Perhaps the unicorn was once real, just very different from how we imagine it today. Number 6. Yeti is Bigfoot. In the Himalayas, people have been telling stories for centuries about a mysterious creature, the Yeti. It is said to be bipedal, furry, and human-like, living in the snowy high altitudes. In 1951, large footprints were discovered on Mount Everest, which were initially considered evidence, but were later likely attributed to a bear. There is also a similar legend in North America, Bigfoot. A film from 1967 that supposedly shows the creature is particularly well known. To this day, the footage is controversial and sparks debates between skeptics and believers. Interestingly, there actually were beings in human history that resembled such creatures. About 3.7 million years ago, Australopithecus species, early hominids, lived in Africa. They walked upright, but did not yet use tools or have language. With their long arms, dense body hair, and stocky build, they could have been the original model for legends like the Yeti or Bigfoot. Number 5. Giant Bovids. Bovine animals, so-called bovids, such as bison, buffalo, or aurochs, enjoy mythical or sacred status in many cultures. In Greek mythology, the Minotaur appears, a hybrid creature with the head of a bull and the body of a man, symbolizing raw power. Among the indigenous peoples of the Americas, the bison is considered a sacred animal that provides life and sustenance. Enormous cattle also play a central spiritual role in Hindu traditions. But behind the myths, there are often real animals, such as bison latifrons, a giant bison species from the last ice age. It lived around 20,000 years ago in North America and, with a shoulder height of up to 2.5 meters, was as large as a modern SUV. The span of its horns could exceed 2 meters, wide enough to fit a car in between. Bison latifrons evolved from the smaller steppe bison, which migrated from Asia. With the end of the Ice Age, the decline of vast grasslands, and human hunting, this giant also disappeared, though perhaps not from collective memory. Number 4. Trolls. In Northern Europe, trolls are established figures in ancient legends. They are considered shy, often ugly beings with broad noses, coarse facial features, and sturdy builds. Some stories describe them as giants, others as human-sized creatures with strange habits. They live far from civilization, avoid sunlight, and are considered dangerous, but also ancient. Remarkably, many of these traits are strongly reminiscent of Neanderthals, an extinct human species that lived in Europe until about 40,000 years ago. They too had broad noses, a massive build, and distinctive faces. They were skilled hunters, used tools, and lived in caves in regions from which later troll stories would emerge. Since Neanderthals and Homo sapiens overlapped in Europe for about 5,000 years, Direct encounters or memories of these others may have found their way into early myths. So perhaps trolls are not merely mythical creatures, but rather a cultural echo of a human species that once truly existed. Number 3. The Erymanthian boar. In Greek mythology, one of Hercules' famous 12 labors was to capture the Erymanthian boar, a gigantic wild pig with incredible strength. This fearsome creature spread terror throughout the surrounding regions and was only subdued by Hercules' courage. The boar became a symbol of raw natural force and the ability to tame the uncontrollable. In real prehistory, there was also an animal that rivaled the mythological boar in ferocity, the daeodon, often referred to as the hell pig. It lived about 20 million years ago in North America and was an impressive predator. With its massive skull, long canines, and powerful jaw structure, it resembled a monstrous wild boar, but was actually more closely related to hippos. Despite eating plants, it was considered one of the most fearsome omnivores of its time. Its appearance, large, tough, with a grotesque head, could easily have fired the imagination of early humans. Perhaps a creature like Daeodon was the inspiration for myths such as that of the Erymanthian boar. Number 2. Vodyanoi. In Slavic mythology, the Vodyanoi is a feared creature. It is said to live as a giant frog-like demon near lakes, rivers, and swamps, especially active at night. The Vodyanoi drags people into the water, causes accidents, and is considered a harbinger of death and disaster. In old tales, he sometimes appears as an old bearded water spirit with fish skin, and other times as a monstrous frog with leathery skin and glowing eyes. Remarkably, there was an animal in Earth's history that resembled this description, Beelzebufo, also known as the devil frog. It lived around 66 million years ago in what is now Madagascar and was the largest known frog. With a length of up to 90 centimeters and a powerful jaw, it was probably even able to hunt small dinosaurs. This animal died out during the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous period, along with the dinosaurs. Perhaps fossils or ancient memories were preserved and found their way into myths like that of the Vodyanoi, a demonic frog, half legend, half evolution. Number 1. Ningen. In the early 2000s, a strange rumor circulated among Japanese fishermen that a mysterious creature, the Ningen, had appeared in the Southern Ocean. It is said to look human-like, with white skin, long arms, and a silhouette reminiscent of a mermaid or a seal. According to reports, it surfaced silently from the depths and disappeared just as wordlessly. Some presented photos or videos, but many turned out to be fakes or mistakes. Still, the mystery remained. Was the Ningen just a modern legend, or is there more to it? In fact, there were prehistoric sea creatures that vaguely resembled the Ningen. The swimming prehistoric sloth Thalassocnus once lived along the South American coasts, and the shark species Aquilolamna, with its wing-like fins, looked like a cross between a ray and a monster. Antarctica remains one of the least explored regions on Earth to this day. Who knows what still lies hidden beneath the ice? Sometimes, legends are not born from myths, but from real encounters.